fabulous. I have a wonderful guest with me today. Her name is Trina Ramsey. And before we get into the show and letting Trina bestow her words of wisdom upon all of you, let me take care of the things that you all know I like to do. If you've been listening to the show for a while, and you know I like to do a couple of like housekeeping things. And the first thing is make this time your time. And when I say that, you know what I'm getting ready to say. Find a place to sit, get your favorite beverage, get something to write with. Tell the family to give you a few moments so you can have some time for yourself, so you can get it together. And um, and while you're doing that, I am going to take care of some other business. So I like to thank my sponsors, of course. Without the sponsors, the show would not be possible. So I like to thank the first sponsor, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. As we transition and we are full stream ahead in the fall season, now we're right smack dab in the middle of the fall season. Blissful Living for You offers a wonderful amount of products, information, guidance, wisdom on how you can incorporate Ayurveda into your life as well as your business so that you can really transform into being that beautiful, beautiful essence that you're meant to be. And as we go through the year, it is, we go through a lot of stuff, believe it or not. And our bodies and our minds and our businesses go through these seasons as well. So if you're looking to increase your well-being with not only your mind, body, and spirit, but within your business as well, then you want to check out Blissful Living for You. And you also want to check them out because there's some good things happening on that campus with regards to the Brave, Bold, Unstoppable Women Summit, both the virtual and the live events. And our guest today, Trina Ramsey, is going to be a speaker at the upcoming event in San Francisco, and as well as like our virtual events and a couple of books being published that I definitely think you're going to want to get your hands on. The first one is 365 Days of Affirmations for a Year of Bliss, being published by Balboa Press, Hay House, and is available on Amazon now. And then the second book to be released this coming Saturday is The Unstoppable Woman's Manifesto. And that one is a game changer. You definitely want to get your hands on, not only on that one, but both books. So anyways, check out Blissful Living for You and see all the goodies that they have available to help you to enhance your life and your business. Now, the next sponsor I want to thank is All Day Cable Incorporated. All Day Cable Incorporated is a premier telecommunications installation company in Silicon Valley. It is woman-owned, it is minority-owned, and I'm saying it's probably the first woman-owned, minority-owned telecommunications installation company in the United States. They've been in business for 33 plus years, have survived every economy, and their motto is they make the right connections the first time so that when you go to connect with your customer on that other end, you are able to connect with them efficiently and effectively the first time. They specialize in voice data, fiber optic cabling installation, as well as wireless access points, routers, modems, audio, video, speaker, monitor, whatever you need so that you can be on top of your game when it comes to your telecommunications and the way you communicate with the world. So if you're looking for a premier telecommunications installation company, minority owned, woman owned, that's been around for 33 plus years, that services small, medium, and very large corporations, then, and wait, one more thing I want to say, and they have 5-star reviews from all of their customers, and they are premier or their preferred vendor of choice when it comes to telecom installation, then you definitely want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so now that we're taking care of business, you've had some time to get yourself together, got you a nice little spot to sit in, and we're going to dive into our conversation today. It's titled Just You, the Importance of Challenging Your Inner Superwoman. And that is key. So all the ladies, and I'm not going to be like Beyonce, all the single ladies, but all the ladies, stand up. Get your crown shifted on, put them heels on or your slippers or whatever it is, right? Because Trina is about to bring it. So my guest today, as I said in the opening, is Trina Ramsey. And I'm going to let Trina share a little bit about herself so that you all can get to know her a little bit better and get the vibe of her energy and how she flows and why this conversation that we're going to have today is so important for you. And the other thing, before I let Trina do her thing, if you like the show, subscribe to the show so you can get advanced notification of the guests. But not only that, also share the show with everyone you love and care about, particularly us women, because it's time for women to unite and come together in strength, harmony, unity, so that we can be the change agents to make the world a better place. And so, Trina, welcome to Blissful Living. How are you?
Hello, and thank you, Rochel, so much for having me. I'm super excited to be joining you on the tour in February, and also just really happy to be here. And I just love your energy.
Oh, thank you, girl. I'm trying to keep it subdued because usually I'm really, really off the hook. But that person might come out as we talk, particularly because you're a girl from the Bay. I'm a Bay Area girl. There's nothing more special than us California girls. California, there's songs about California, wine, women, and weather, right? Or the other W that California is known for. My crown is shifting because I'm getting a little twisted, but it's always good to connect with my fellow Californians. We from Northern Cali. That's how we roll. The tech empire of the world, I want to say, but also as bad sisters like us. So Trina, tell the listeners and the viewers a little bit about you and how you became the expert when it comes to challenging our inner superwoman.
Yes. So my name is Trina Ramsey. I'm the CEO of the Just Do You Institute for Women's Empowerment. And I work with women leaders over 40 who have just been pouring out year after year to everyone in their lives, whether it's I definitely have spent a lot of time in the nonprofit sector as a nonprofit fundraiser and gotten to the C-suite. And as you are building your career, you're just driving and driving and driving. And certainly for me, I was handed the mantle of superwoman when I was 12 years old. My mother, God rest her soul, she passed away when I was 14. And she was dealing with her own mental health challenges. And she told me her diagnosis when I was 12. And I have sisters who are 7 years younger than me. So do you know what that meant? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I got to help mommy. I got to be the one to help make a difference and all of that. And it literally never left me. It's part of the reason why I became a coach. It's part of the reason why I ended up in nonprofits. And I've worked at some wonderful nonprofits. But the truth of the nonprofit industry is that it really can just suck you dry. I'm not joking. And so I realized as I was really building my nonprofit and my coaching practice is that I needed to stop the madness. I needed to start taking better care of myself. And I knew there were many, many women out there who needed to do the same. And that's how the branding of Just Do You started. And now I also have a program called Sweet Freedom. So that's a little bit of me.
I love it. But we're going to dedicate this show to your mommy. She's probably watching us and like, look at my girl doing it with that crazy woman, but that crazy woman with the spots on her face. But it is amazing how many of us women, when we get to, and I want to say particularly the 40-year mark, we start realizing that we have been wearing this cape underneath all our clothing that has superwoman, and we have it tattooed on our chest and our back, and we don't know really where it came from, but we know it's us and we've been doing it. And sometimes it comes from things that happen in our lives, and sometimes it comes from experiences that we've had outside of our family, so to speak. But we hold that badge of courage, and a lot of times we don't realize it until we get to that 40-year mark that that's what we've been doing. And so, with regards to that and that superwoman title, um, what was the most challenging aspect for you when you realized that you had been that superwoman, not only for yourself, so to speak, as a means of surviving and thriving, but for your siblings?
Yeah, so when you lose someone suddenly like that, it's just something that I just thought that I had to do. And then I also was the achiever in the family, the A+ students. I was the first in my family to go to college. And so there's just a lot of expectations that are built up on you. And then I had these, I love my sisters, they're amazing. Now that we're older, we're all friends. I'm not big sis. Well, sometimes I am, but that never goes away, right?
Mhm.
But there are times when you realize that, wait, I'm not supposed to do it all. I have one of the twins also went through her own is going through her own battle with mental illness. And me and the other sister, we lived on the East Coast at the time. She was in New York. I was going up and down the East Coast, really assuming that it was me that had to save her, when I actually realized over time that sometimes I was getting in God's way because it wasn't my job. And so, I joke about it and I say God will be like, okay, are you done yet? Can you move out the way so I can do what I need to do?
Right.
And so that was hard because when you love somebody, you really think that you're supposed to just drop everything and be there for them. But there's only one us. And that's a lesson I had to learn.
You bring up some beautiful points, and I can totally relate to a lot of it, a lot of similarities. Only girl in my family, first one to go off to a 4-year college at age of 16, was the person, I think, because I was the only girl, and I'm the oldest in my family. I have a brother 4 years younger than me, but um, I assumed the responsibility of taking care of everybody, but I didn't even know that. And I guess, I say for myself that the reason that happened was because God knew I was a strong person. And I probably was the strongest person in my family to be able to handle those responsibilities, and assuming that I had to be the one to take care of everyone, like how you were driving up and down the East Coast to,
Mhm.
but then there comes a point in time and we don't know where God says, okay, you've bared this burden long enough. Now it's time for you to step aside and let me do my work in these people's lives. And sometimes that can be very disheartening for those that have been dependent upon you, because they see you as a person that's turned away from helping them instead of turning away to allow them to help themselves and allow the divine to intervene in their lives. With your sisters, um, first of all, how are they doing now? How are your sisters doing now?
They're doing well. They're doing well. The one, she's really thriving. She lives in Hershey, Pennsylvania. The other one is still struggling, but she's growing. She's accepting the support she needs, and so we have all kind of shifted in our little relationship as well to back up, to be there for her, but also to allow her to do the things she needs to do to support her own healing journey.
I love it. So, with regards to the importance of challenging our superwoman self, um, particularly with the ladies or people that might be working in the nonprofit, and I've never worked in a nonprofit arena, so I can't even begin to know what that entity is all about. But I know there's a lot of, I don't want to say codependence. That's probably not the correct word, but I know there's some of that with there's some of that within there. How do what would you say to women that are in that industry that are going through things that you've gone through, that need to be awakened and enlightened about the betterment of what they can do with regards to allowing their superwoman to be a superwoman, but without taking on everybody's stuff.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. And this is exactly why I started the Sweet Freedom program, because I realized that some of us really only see one way of being. This is who we are. This is our role in the world. Those of us who are what you had described, that's the responsible one. We're the ones that are, and sometimes we decide we're going to save the day and nobody even asks us to. We just, oh, time to put the cape on, let's go. Like, what you doing here? You know,
That is so true. That's so true.
but as it relates to nonprofits, the mission, it's filled with people with big hearts who want to make a difference. And so particularly women and Black women in particular, we
Right.
are, the workhorses of the world. We are the ones who were socialized as wet nurses who were taking care of other people's babies and nursing them with our own milk and all of these things. And so it's really like in our DNA to a certain extent. And then also socialized that who's going to fix it? The Black woman's going to fix it. And do we get to thank you for it? Not necessarily. And so I really am here to interrupt scripting that is decades long, a lifetime long sometimes, to really help women to connect with their worthiness, to really understand that they don't have to be the one to save the day. In fact, if that job is harming you, it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to do something else. Are there dreams that you haven't even thought about that, or I can't do this because this is who I am? It's time to really shift. And that's what Sweet Freedom's all about.
I love it. You mentioned something that was key, and I think we need to expand on that with regards to you being the woman in a nonprofit or regular corporation that feels that you need to save the day, and you take on things that are not necessarily yours, but you take them on anyways because of our inherent DNA, right? We take on stuff, we do it, we're dependable, we're reliable, we get it done, but then we get no credit and no thank you for it, right? Um, share some wisdom with the listeners and the viewers with regards to what would you say or what nugget of gold would you share with a woman that you just described to help her to see the light of where she is and how she does not have to stay in that place, particularly if it's starting to affect her health and well-being? Because a lot of this gets internalized and it comes out in health and well-being issues, but we don't put the two together.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the first thing I want to say, and I'm just going to get real serious, you're worthy. You are already enough. I don't know who I'm talking to, but there's somebody who is dealing with these issues right now, and they may be watching live or they may be watching in the future. But we get to shift. We get to choose ourselves. And the reason I named my company Just Do You is because it's not selfish to put yourself first. When you're on a flight, what do they tell you with the mask? To put it on yourself first. Because you know what? If you run yourself into the ground, if you end up with some debilitating disease and have to go on, extended medical leave, guess what? They're going to replace you. The world is going to go on. And here you are broken. So you can choose yourself right now, today.
I love it. Again, you guys listening, watching us, I always say you have to choose yourself first. But here's the other thing. It's very hard for people to choose themselves first because they feel that they have a responsibility and that they're letting others down. What would you say to that woman that knows deep down inside that she needs to choose herself first, but she can't? It's like I'm reaching over here. You can't see my hands, but I'm reaching to get here, but I'm still holding on very tight here because if I don't, what's going to happen to those people? Well, it's my responsibility. What would you say to that sister?
Yeah. And this is where trusting God comes in, because God has a plan and we are all part of it. And sometimes we stay too long in a situation. And there are other talented people. You're not the only one who has a solution. And if it's time for you to move on, you get to do that and you get to choose yourself. You know what you were talking about, holding on and reaching. You know, you can't, if your hand is closed, and I'm the same thing. If your hand is closed, you can't open to receive. So you
Mm.
actually have to let go in order to receive what's next. And sometimes out of fear, out of, sometimes we have people in our ear. What do you mean? You can't quit that good job? The benefits, this and that. Well, there's lots of other options. And I believe in abundance. It took me a while to break my, scarcity mentality, but the world is abundant. One of my good friends always says there will always be more money. So don't let the lure of what you're doing now and the role you're playing now mean that that's the only way it has to be. You've got a bright future ahead of you, and you have the opportunity to do something different. You have the opportunity to pursue your dreams and to rest.
Again, some very magical words of wisdom that I just think needs to be broadcasted over the loudspeaker. Whenever we watch the news, we don't see anything good on the news. I mean, there's a reason for that because negative sells, right? Uh, but it's so easy. I've been in that situation, just caught in the middle of my obligation to those that I feel they're dependent upon me, even though they grown, or growner than me, so to speak. But my obligation, and if I didn't do something or if I didn't continue in that role, then I was letting them down, and then I was letting my family down, and so on. Because as African Americans, we are raised to family is everything. We take care of family. You stick to family with family no matter what. Even though that person is doing something wrong or whatever, family is everything because back in the day, our families were taken apart. We were sold, we were broken apart, we were, killed or maimed or whatever. So that becomes the nucleus. But it becomes a point in time where that family is everything. Is detrimental to us, or not even family, your ride or dies, or, people at work or whatever, um, becomes detrimental to us. When that happens, and when there's that moment, that little flash in someone's mind that they realize they need to make a change, beyond realizing that, what would you suggest would be the first thing that they do that could help them to continue to move forward, but still standing in their superwoman power, but really now owning their essence of a superwoman and understanding that they don't need to be a superwoman to anybody but to themselves?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think that part of it is it's not simple. It's really challenging, the things that we have been held as absolutes in our lives, in terms of people who need us, in terms of um, the ways in which we believe that we are built to contribute in the world. You actually have to spend some time with yourself and actually deprogram some of that. So
Mhm.
I'm talking about feeding your spiritual life, prayer, journaling. I have a morning routine where I've got prayer, I've got my scriptures, but I'm also got a collection of various like journals, um, whether it be Christian or other, forms of inspiration. We actually have to start feeding ourselves to realize that what's in front of us is not always. And the other thing is that set those boundaries, and that's hard, especially if it's a family member, or if you use the word codependent. There is codependency in the workplace. If you have someone who is you feel is reliant upon you as an employee, someone who looks up to you, you don't want to let them down. Well, again, there's abundance. So there are other ways that these people can be taken care of, and also just trusting and empowering them. Because here's the other thing, is that sometimes as superwomen, we're so used to giving that we don't know how to receive. And so we
Mm,
only see the opportunity to like support other people, but sometimes we actually have to ask for help. So here I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about getting rest. I'm talking about really taking the time, because sometimes when we're so amped up and we're in like a toxic situation, we don't have the space to devote to even think to dream again. I had a client who said to me, I have a book that's a workbook that's called Dreams versus Barriers. And she's like, that's too hard because I don't even know how to dream.
mm.
Right.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so, yeah, yeah, but we have to like heal ourselves first before we start trying to build again. And some of that means even slowly backing away, setting different little small boundaries, holding them, setting more boundaries, and teaching other people how to treat you.
I love it. Okay, so here's the kicker. Wonderful words of wisdom. The boundary thing. Some people don't even know what their boundaries are. You know, those that are the superwoman and those that
Mhm.
are relying upon the superwoman, because it's like, you know, it's like this, right? It's so grayish, black and grayish, that we don't even know where we begin and the stuff ends when it comes to setting boundaries, because you know it's hard. What is a suggestion? What is the suggestion you would tell, you know, whether it's your client or your sister or a good friend or heck, even yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror? What is the suggestion or suggestions you would tell someone that really, really, one, needs to identify their boundaries, and two, be confident and comfortable with telling others what their boundaries are? Because that can be really, really difficult for some people.
Yeah. It is a process. And so part of it is becoming less available.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer the phone every time that person calls. There's actually someone in my life that I made a practice of, where it was a slow weaning, because this person was a family member, and they were I knew when I got on the phone with her that I was going, like, her energy was, it was going to tank me because she was pulling at me, and so I got to the point where I was like, yeah, mm, not today. We're not doing that today. And so over time, people start understanding, okay, wait. And then you'll get things like, well, I know you're so busy, but, yep, I am busy. I got other things that I'm doing. And you just decide how much time you're going to allow people in. And sometimes it also means you're going to have a tough conversation and say, listen, I know that up until now, this is how things flowed between us. But I'm on a mission to XYZ. I can't do that if I'm always available to you. So we're going to have to slow down how often we talk. I love you, but also you get to have what you need to have. And if I'm always the one who's helping you, then you're actually not able to grow as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, this is another one I have. So you have that, and I think it's a lot harder with family members because of the
Mhm.
connection, right? So you have this family member that you've been helping, and you know their life is not going well, and you decide to set boundaries to cut them off, so to speak, because now they're not going so well. Life is infringing upon your mental and physical and emotional well-being, and so you decide to say, hey, you know, I'm cutting you off, you know, sorry, you know, and they start to blame you for their struggles and how it is so important for you to be with them, even though they're not making changes in their lives for the better. How would you have what words of wisdom would you share with someone that's going through that? Because I think it becomes extremely difficult when you get the guilt trip put on you when you're trying to break free. It's like
Yeah.
the, you know, the drug addict the heroin addict trying to kick, but yeah, she's still hanging out with the those that's still shooting up, right? And they're like, well, girl, here, just, just this little bit ain't gonna hurt, and you're like, no, I'm trying to break free. I want to be here to support you, but I don't want to be in that realm with you. What words of wisdom can you share? Because I know this is a very powerful and impactful show and discussion that we're having. And no matter what, whoever, might be one person, it might be 10,000 people that see this and get something that helps them to change their life for the better. So what would you share with those people, with regards to just basically going cold turkey?
Yeah. Well, first thing, I think that there's a way to do it in love. And so, like, it's got to be kind of a process. And then also, like, you don't have to, not everybody's going to be happy with you. And that's okay. You know, in my book, I talk about who is this them that we're so worried about. We always spend a lot of time worrying about what they think about us. And sometimes in these situations, we're not just worried about that relationship. We're worried about what the other people in the family or oh my gosh, you know what she did to her sister, or she's not going to do this, or, maybe it's,
I can't believe that she's just going, yeah. But they
yeah,
ain't doing nothing to help either.
exactly. Exactly. And so the only person that I really answer to is God. And it takes a while to really get that strength because I'm a recovering people pleaser. So, it's the cut. And that's a deadly combination, people pleaser and superwoman. You will wear yourself out. But I'm here to tell you, you can get on the other side. But it does require letting people know, look, me doing this for you is not helping you. It's not about me being selfish. It's about me helping you to get to a different place because I'm not going to be here all the time. And actually, my getting pulled in this way is keeping me from being able to help in the long run because I'm not actually meeting the goals that what I need to because I'm too pulled in too many directions. And then the other thing is like have them like pull back the veil about what it is because sometimes the other thing about superwomen is that we can't be vulnerable. So if you really actually talk about the cost and how you're being harmed and what the struggles that you are having, then they can actually see you as a human and not a superhero. And that you're not here just for them, but they can actually be empathetic towards you. Like, oh wow, I didn't know that you were struggling with that. I didn't know. Okay, I'm sorry. It can shift.
I love it. I love this conversation. It brings home a lot of stuff in my life, because again, I shared that little bit about me being the only girl and the whole family of cousins and stuff. But it really does bring it home, and it brings up incidents in my life where someone was struggling with alcohol addiction, and I took this person in, and because I was the fixer of everybody's problems, I'm a nurse, so I could fix this person. And even though I realized and I knew that I can't fix anybody but myself. Heck, I have a hard time fixing myself, right? But because I had this superwoman and it was looked upon, well, you're the nurse and blah, 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 blah. I took this person in, and was taking this person to, AA meetings, took the person to detox, and all of that. And eventually had to kick the person out of my house and out of my life for a moment. And when the person recovered, and it's pretty tragic how the person ended up recovering, but they recovered, but God had to really intervene in their life. He told me, he said, when you would drop, he says, now that I'm all better and I feel like I could be upfront with you. He says, you know me better than anybody. You knew when I was lying to you, you knew. He goes, but you didn't know this. When you would take me to those AA meetings and you would drop me off, as soon as you would drive away and I would see the car far enough away, I would leave the meeting and go to the liquor store and get my fix or whatever. And then I'd come back. And when it was time for you to pick me up, and I'd be right out there like I had been in the meetings. And that broke my heart. And it was years later, but it broke my heart because I thought about how I put this person above, not above everything, but in everything that I was doing, like he was my child. And I was taking time away from my kids to support this person, and they didn't really care. And that became a real awakening for me as to I can't be a superwoman for anybody but myself, right? Because if people don't necessarily value it and they're always depending on you to fix things for them, then where is the lesson in their life for them to learn to stand on their own 2 feet and be strong? And so, it kept happening, not with the person, different scenarios kept happening. And I actually had to move from my beloved state, the Golden State. I didn't have to move, but I moved from a Golden State because it had got so chaotic that I was like, if I don't get away and be so far out of reach, that I'm just gonna go down this downward spiral. And when I did that, one person told me, "Well, why did you leave me?" And I said, "I didn't leave you. I left to save myself." And so, with regards to our whole conversation here about being a superwoman, my message to anybody out there listening and watching us is don't let someone try to tell you that you are letting them down because you want to save yourself. In actuality, you are elevating and giving them the strength to save themselves because you are saving yourself and you're putting yourself first. And it's so very hard, Trina. And I know it's so, so very hard. You start doubting yourself and playing that role, but trust us that you will get on the other side and know that it was meant for you to do. And it was a journey that you were meant to take. It just comes. Sometimes it ain't pretty. As sometimes it's not pretty to get to that journey where you can stand in your 5-inch heels with your superwoman cape on and your cute little outfit and be like, yeah, I'm commanding my life now. Because if I don't, I may not be here tomorrow. And I'm the most important, most valuable asset thing in my life. And when I command my life, I can be there for others in the capacity that now I have grace for them and not have to take care of all their problems. So any last words? Thank you for sharing that, because it brought up, I'm like, that is exactly what happened. And the thing was, it was my brother. It was my brother. And I've always been his caretaker. And so when he told me that, it was just like, but it allowed me to understand that this journey we walk on, as I say, we walk on this path to bliss. It's a journey. It's a beautiful journey. And yeah, there are challenges. And yeah, we go through some hell sometimes. But the divine has a plan for us. And in order for us to illuminate the plan he has for us and to stand in the magnificence of the plan that he has for us, we have to go through some tough things to become the beautiful essence that he sees us as, even when we don't see it for ourselves. So last words of wisdom you would like to share with anybody listening? And
well, first of all, I want to thank you for being transparent and vulnerable and sharing your story. It totally ties in, and there's so many of us. So two things I want to say. What you just said touches upon my favorite scripture. All things work together for the good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Because, the things that I've seen, the things that I've gone through have made me stronger. They've made me, they are the building blocks for the Trina that you see today. And had I not gone through those trials, then I would not have the material to be the person I am today. But I also want to share something that I took from one of my mentors. Her name is Naonu. She said to me, Superwoman is a fictional character, right? And I was like, oh, that's true. Yeah. So we're trying to actually live up to an impossible standard because it's not real. And at the same time, we can draw on the strength of Superwoman, as you said, for what we need to power through a tough situation, to stand in our power, to go for our dreams. That's all available to us, but we don't have to be victims to it.
I love it. I love it. I love conversations like this because it's heartfelt and it comes from our heart and soul. And you just shared some wonderful words of wisdom, um, context of enlightening us, and a really beautiful, beautiful aspect for anyone watching or listening to really be able to absorb what we're talking about. It's beyond just us being here and being beautiful and speaking words. It really touches. It touched my heart and soul.
Mhm.
And I'm sure if it touched my heart and soul, and it's touching your heart and soul, and my favorite color, then yeah, it's touching others, and we may never know whose lives we touch that we were able to transform with our words of wisdom. But I know we're out there doing some great work. So thank you, Trina, for being a guest on
Thank
Blissful Living.
you.
It's
Thank
been
you.
beautiful. And okay, so here the crazy woman comes back on. Not crazy, but I shouldn't say it like that because that's not a very nice term. I'm gonna say badass
There
woman.
you go. Yeah.
um, Trina is one of the speakers, you all, at the Brave Bold Unstoppable Woman Summit in San Francisco. She most likely will be joining us on the virtual summit prior to that as well. And if you liked what we talked about, if it touched you in some kind of way, even if you just get a little tingle, that means that our conversation touched you in some kind of way. And you need to listen to this over and over again so that you can get that strength you need to shatter those shackles of being that superwoman and to stand in your greatness, because that's what it's all about. I believe that the divine brought us together to share this message with you all today. And so we hope with our heart and soul that you enjoyed our conversation. And if it touched you, that you begin the transformation of shedding those shackles of superwoman and becoming that great woman in your own right that you are. And you are not responsible for anybody but yourself. And as Trina said, you got to put yourself first because, as they say, if you don't save yourself first, you can't save anybody else, right? So, thank you, Trina.
Thank
And
you.
you're very welcome. Thank you to all the viewers and listeners of the show today. Again, please share the show with everyone you love and care about. We have some very powerful, moving conversations. And as Trina dropped nuggets of gold and wisdom for you all to begin to incorporate in your life immediately, here's one thing I know she wants you all to know. It's not going to be easy, but as you do it, and the more you do it, it gets easier. It's like when you first learn how to tie your shoes. The kids don't even do that today, but us in our generation, when you first learn how to tie your shoe, it wasn't easy, but now you tie your shoe like no, you don't even have to think about it. Or riding a bike or driving a car. You first get in that car, you try to check now you just get in the car, turn it on, go. Half the time you don't even realize your journey to you know what I mean? You're not even paying attention, especially in the bay with that traffic. You in that traffic, you on autopilot, right? So it's not meant to be easy, but it's meant to be explorative and it's meant to awaken you to the true essence of your beautiful self. So, with that being said,
Rochelle,
thank
I would love to
you.
offer a
I was
free
just going to
gift.
ask you to share with how people can get more of
Yeah,
you and connect with
yeah.
you.
So I'm at Instagram at my coach Trina, and also on X at my coach Trina. Of course, on LinkedIn, Trina Ramsey, and Just Do You Institute is .com is my website, and I have a free gift right on the main page. I'm an executive coach. I help people with career transitions, and I've come up with a toolkit that helps people to decide: is it time to stay or go? Is it time to switch careers? Is it time to retire? So if you go to my page, justdoyouinstitute.com, right on the homepage is a free gift you can download and you can start your journey. And if I
Love
see
it.
you on social media, say hi and say this is how you got introduced. Rochelle, thank you again. This has been amazing. I really appreciate the
Oh,
opportunity to be in spirit and in conversation with you. You're so lovely, and it certainly has fueled my morning.
oh, thank you so much. Thank you for saying yes. to both opportunities. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. Thank you for the free gift. You guys, her information will be in the show notes, so pay attention. If you're quick and you can write that down, good, but it'll be in the show notes. And you can always listen to the show over and over again until you get exactly all the information you need that fulfills your heart and soul, so you can go out and be the most important superwoman in your life. I want to thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. Check them out again. Lots of goodies. And plus, you get to see Trina. You can check on that, click on that events tab, and you can see Trina being one of the featured speakers at the event in San Francisco coming up soon. And I want to thank All Day Cable Incorporated at alldaycableinc.com. And I want to thank all of you for allowing us just this few moments in time to be a part of your life and to share just the girlfriend conversations that we have, because I'm a believer that there are no coincidences, and God brings people together that are meant to be together. And sometimes those people travel with you for a long time, and sometimes they're in and out. But it's the journey again, and the time that you spend with those that are life transforming. And so thank you, Trina, for your time. Thank you, all of you, for watching and listening. And I'll keep talking, so let me just end it. This is Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of I'm wishing you all peace to your mind, wellness to your body, tranquility to your soul. And may you have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed, and superwoman, powerful day. Goodbye for now, everybody.